Here's the thing about the apex. It's isn't that you don't know what to do. For most people, they know what to do, but there's some reluctance about doing it, and it's often around confidence. And people say things like, "Terry, I get AVEX. Totally get it. The system works, but I know what to do. I'm just not doing it." And that's a confidence problem wearing a mask of a knowledge problem. Until we name it properly, it will keep costing you clients, fees, and momentum. This is what this is all about. I'm going to be really blunt here. You don't have an information problem. Everybody here, apart from maybe a few of the odd ones, and I'm not even including you in this, Natalie, because we worked together years ago. Everybody here knows exactly what needs to be done to get high fees, to get retained, to have predictable income. What you have is a gap between what you know and what you're willing to do. And that's the gapping is confidence. And that's what we're going to work on today is closing that gap, because confidence is not the finish line. It's the starting gun. Most recruiters say this to me. Yeah, that example, the triage call, great idea. When I'm ready, I'm going to do that. Yeah, it makes sense that most of my potential clients don't know me. And if I was to post more often on LinkedIn or do videos and send out emails, that would make sense. But I'm not ready to do it. I'm not ready to ask my hiring manager for a retained fee. Yeah, I'm doing podcasts. That makes sense. But I'm not ready to ask the hiring manager what their future hiring needs are. I'm not ready to raise the fee. I'm not ready to post an opinion that positions you as an authority, and that you're waiting for a feeling to arrive before you act. Here's a problem with that. The feeling never comes first. It comes second. Let me repeat that. The feeling never comes first. It comes second. Go back to when you first learned to drive. Anybody here that learned to drive, you remember that. You don't go into your first driving lesson and get thinking, well, I'm feeling very confident behind the wheel for the very first time. It's fair to say that you felt clumsy, tense, hyper aware. And I remember my first lesson, the driving instructor said, and I'm sure they say this to everybody. Now, remember, it's mirror signal, and then you take off. So you check the mirror, then you signal, then you slowly take your foot off the clutch, and you slowly put your foot down the accelerator. And my instructor's telling me all at the same time. I didn't even know what the accelerator was at the time. And as you're hearing those instructions, you're thinking, what the hell? How am I supposed to do that while I'm shaking like a leaf and I'm hyperventilating with anxiety and stress? But your confidence in driving only shows up after 20, 30 hours of driving, of actually doing it. And by the way, initially you will do it badly. And by the way, when you do your first triage call, you're going to do it badly. In your first post, you're going to do it badly. And your first podcast, you'll probably do it badly. But as with driving, you did it. And with doing it consistently, you got better and better. And it's exactly the same here. There is no difference whatsoever. You've got to do it. Doing the things in recruitment that yield the best results for you, for the client and the candidate is exactly the same. Do not expect to feel confident the first time you do a podcast or you do a post. You won't, but you're not supposed to. Not going to feel confident doing it until you've done a few. You're not going to believe that a hiring manager will pay you a percentage of the fee up front until you've done it a few times. Don't expect to feel like an authority until you've said something that's worth listening to and you've posted it and you've said it out loud in public. You're going to be fearful of posting on social media for the first time, but the feeling of confidence is downstream from the action. If you stay or decide to wait for confidence to arrive, you're going to wait forever. And that's what's happening for a lot of people, is people are waiting to feel confidence before they take the action steps. Fee structure freedom, as we call it, fails not because you don't know how to ask for higher fees. It's because in the moment, sitting opposite the client, your voice shrinks and you discount to feel safe. By the way, you're discounted because you think if you don't discount, you're going to get rejected. The accelerated authority that we often talk about fails not because you can't write or do a video. It fails because it fails because your fear of posting a strong opinion means that somebody may disagree with you. And that feels like exposure. By the way, if you're posting a strong opinion and no one disagrees with you, it wasn't that strong an opinion. That's the whole point of strong opinions. You're going to get people that disagree. Client control fails not because you don't know your terms. It fails because holding the line risks the client saying no. Rejection's okay, but you would rather bend than lose. Can you see the pattern there? The information is the easy part. Competence is like the tax that you actually have to pay. But most owners refuse to pay the tax. And I want to be clear about this as well. Confidence isn't like people say, oh, it's personality traits, and by my personality, I'm not that way inclined. It's not the case you have it or you don't have it. It's more like a muscle. And a muscle only grows under a load. The sequence that works is simple, and it's the opposite of what most people believe. Action comes first. There's a reason why we sign off with take action, because that's where your results come from, taking action. Competence follows the action, and confidence follows so you then do the scary things to get a little bit better time after time after time. But most owners do it the other way around. They think, I'm going to wait for the confidence and then build the competence, getting the wrong way around. But you're stuck in this loop of your own making. And then what some recruiters do is they blame the market. Well, I can't, whatever it is, because of the market. But to break that loop from the action end, not from the feeling end, every single time. And then people say, well, I just don't believe in myself right now. That's okay. I don't expect you to if it's your first post or your first time you're asking for a retainer. You don't need to fully believe in yourself right now. You only need to believe in the system and the evidence of that system. So we've got people that can get, 40 meetings a month without picking up the phone, simply using LinkedIn chat. So the evidence is there. But Apex is not a theory. It's a set of moves that have worked for other recruiters exactly like you when their own confidence was thin. So I'm encouraging you to lean on that. You're not asking a client to trust a nervous version of you. You're delivering a proven model with conviction, even when your stomach's doing somersaults. Borrowed confidence is still the same. So use our confidence. Use other recruiters that have used these systems. Nobody in the room will be able to tell any difference. And by the time you've done it 4 or 5 times, it's no longer borrowed. It's yours. Anybody here that's for the very first time you got your first ever retainer, I can guarantee your stomach was doing butterflies and guaranteed that you felt nervous. But once you got it, a lot of that goes away. And, it's this false image of what confidence looks like. And then people think it's this, you've got this swagger, that you're loud, you're certain, you're fearless. That isn't what it's all about. So the moment you're feeling those nerves before the fee conversation, it's just proof that you're not quite ready. That reading is wrong and it's costing you. The nerves never leave you. The best recruiters I know still get a bit nervous. Think of a seasoned actor. Many of Hollywood's most celebrated stars have shared their deep-rooted fears. Tom Hanks. Everybody knows Tom Hanks. He admitted to wondering when he will be exposed as a fraud. Can you believe that? He questioned his own ability, wondering, when are they going to discover that, in fact, I'm a fraud and take everything away from me? Kate Winslet, exactly the same. She revealed that she often wakes up before a big shoot thinking, I can't do this, I'm a fraud. And she said her biggest fear was doing an emotional scene because she was worried that the audience would realise that they've cast the wrong person for that role. Think about that. That's Kate Winslet. The celebrated and acclaimed actor Stephen Gray, one of my favourites, by the way, he describes, again, feeling like a fraud who doesn't deserve the position. For years, he lived in constant fear that someone would expose him as someone who didn't belong in the room with other professional actors. You're not alone in feeling that fear, that imposter syndrome. The difference between them and the amateur is not the absence of fear, it's that they walk onto the stage anyway. The fear is a ticket price, not a stop sign. Let me repeat that. The fear that you experience is the ticket price, not a stop sign. So look, stop scanning yourself, all of us, for the fear, that total certainty, because it's not coming. Feeling scared and doing it anyway is not a sign that you're not ready. is the exact thing that every competent operator, and we gave the examples of actors, are doing right now. They've just stopped waiting for the fear to disappear first. But look, think it this way: picture we've just finished the World Cup, so imagine a striker who misses an open goal, and every game after that, he or she drifts wide, so they never get in that position again when they can score again, so they can never miss again. Now they haven't lost any skill, but they've lost the nerve. And a lesser player, one who keeps shooting and takes that player's place, with the one that scores the goals and take the place and get all the glory. But that's what playing small for a recruiter is right now. Right now, somewhere in your market, there's a recruiter with less skill than you, less experience, worse process, probably worse candidates, but they've just got more nerve. And they're winning the retained. They're getting the higher fees. They're making the calls because you talked yourself out of doing those, but not because they were better than you. They just showed up, and they showed up and asked while you waited to feel ready. And every week you wait for confidence is a week you hand to someone else with less right to win than you. So please stop treating confidence as something that you need before you start. Start treating confidence as something you need. Stop treating confidence as something you need before you start. Start treating it as something you earn by actually starting. Because when you say I'm not ready yet, the truth is you're not willing yet. That's the difference. So here's a question for you. What's the one action that you keep knowing you should take, but not taking it right now? Pick one apex move that you've been avoiding out of nerves. Just one. And do it this week. And you're going to do it badly. That's okay. Ask for that retainer. Increase your fees. Post, I say once, but post five posts on LinkedIn this week. Make that commitment. I'll do 5 posts. For most people here, the reason you haven't got the business that you want is because the potential clients who could buy from you have never, ever heard of you. And they're not going to buy from you. You already know enough. The only difference between you and the business you want is the willingness to act before you feel ready. What I'm asking is, start there.